Today we will discuss about the benefits of getting books and the burial sites. What are their contribution towards building history. Now, let us start in Indian background how the books they started influencing history, how they are helping us, rather how they are reflecting what exactly happened at that point of time and how they help historians to get data from the subject content whatever they have. Now, if you imagine a book, what is the first thing that clips in your mind? That is language and literature. Every book that must be written in a specific language. They are building some literature. Even the books in the ancient book, whatever we have in India, we can find that a specific language that dominates after they started writing book, mostly at the time of Aryan civilization, Vedic civilization. Why we call it as Vedic civilization? Because this is the time when the first literature we can say in India, that is Rigveda, we can find the time era of that. I cannot say that was written at that period of time. Rigveda was not written, but this is the time when it was composed. If we see this language of this time period, we will see that there is a dominance of a language that is called as Sanskrit. Everything, every hymn or everything, whatever in these four Vedas composed, that was based on Sanskrit. Now, Sanskrit we can say that is a mother of all these Indian languages. Vedas, if we see that it is actually, we can find four Vedas, that is Rigveda, Samaveda, Yajurveda and Atharva Veda. Now, Rigveda, that is the first one, no one has written that Veda, it is not written, but people started writing about Rigveda's hymns, but that much later period. The time period Rigveda is reflecting, that time people started hymning it. It came as a hymn that one teacher, maybe he used to teach to his disciples by singing those hymns. They are mostly, they call as sukta, that means well said. So, some well said proverbs, maybe something that people are worshipping to some of the gods, those are composed by many people, many sages, while teaching to their students. Now, these students, they used to listen and remember it. It was never written at this point of time, and people started memorizing it. It was never written, but the way generation after generation they carried all these, the content of Rigveda, that was completely by memorizing them. Oldest Veda is Rigveda, almost 3500 years ago it was composed. I told you that it was never written by one particular people, rather it was composed by several sages. Rigveda includes more than 1,000 of hymns that basically they are praising many gods to get some benefits. It used for performing some pujas and all, and people started, their disciples, they started learning from their gurus or from their teachers. The gods, the important few gods, they were especially Agni, the god of fire, because I told you in earlier chapters that fire was something that people started at this point of time, they start preserving it, because fire can be was a change. Actually, the discovery of fire, controlling the way to how to control the fire, after discovering those ways, people started getting much more beneficial life than before. So, they started worshipping fire god as Agni. Next, the warrior god, that is Indra. Indra also, mostly all those Rigveda's hymns we can find it is about praying to Indra, because Indra was someone who was protecting them. The tribes, they were getting protection from the outside attack or foreign attacks, and another one is soma, that is giving, it is a plant actually, that used to make some alcohols and a special drink, special type of drink that was beneficial for medicinal purposes and that medical purposes, and that is these three mostly in Rigveda was dominated by these three nature gods. Here you can see that there is no one, someone that is giving extra some mysterious power, and that is the reason people are worshipping them. Rather, in this period of time, we can see that people started worshipping some few gods, those who are very much connected to their daily life, their real life. These hymns, mostly it was composed by all the sages or rishis, because that was the point of time when only the sages or the rishis, they used to teach people, they used to teach a very handful of the disciples how to perform all those pujas. People were not always allowed to perform pujas because they were not even able to do it. Now, these sages, they taught their students how to recite these hymns, how to memorizing this hymn, and then how to recite this, and then how to perform this. They are each syllable, word, how to pronounce them properly. These also was taken a great care at that point of time. These were, we find that this was a male dominating society, because mostly these all were done by men, and very few, we can say it's very few women we can find here. Vedic Sanskrit is a different from the Sanskrit now we learn. It was a different, because there are many changes, different type of changes that incorporated after so many years. It was written down several centuries. Rigveda, as it was not started writing at the very first point of time, it was just memorizing. Smriti and Shruti. Smriti means that people used to memorize, and Shruti by hearing it. So, by listening to their gurus, they used to memorize these hymns. That was the way this Rigveda, this literature that grown up. Now, Sanskrit is a part of family language that it is a Indo-European, we say that Indo-European group of language. It is a part of that. Assamese, Gujarati, Hindi, Kashmiri, Sindhi, these all languages mostly derived directly from Sanskrit. So, it has a basic many similarities we can find that they have with Sanskrit. Rather, the Dravidian family is a little different. They are this family, rather we can find that it is the South Indian languages mostly influenced by those type of language. Now, not only Indian languages, we can see influence of Sanskrit in other languages also, like German, like Spanish, like somewhere in English. Take example of mother. The original Sanskrit word is matri. From matri, the word ma derived, and in English we can see that word mother from matri. It is very much resemble. We can find the resemble. Both the words are somewhat. We can see it is connected in their pronunciation. The way people started pronouncing in a particular area, that derive as a language. So, Sanskrit has a great influence on this group of language. So, these also showing us the way, the areas they started, the people of these group people, they started developing their own culture in so many places, though their basic language was the same. This was the time when different Janapadas started developing. And we have different name also. Vish means Jana. So, different Vish at that point of time. Later on, we will find the term Vaishya, that also derived from this word Vish. So, language as well as the community was developing, one after holding each other's hand, we can say, developing one after incidents. Now, sometimes the people who composed hymns, they describe themselves as Aryan, as the master. They started telling them as they learned, they know many things, so they started calling them as Aryans. And on the other hand, the people, those who were very native from this land and they were not able to like pronounce properly the particular language that the Aryans they used to speak, they started calling them as Dashas. Now these Dasha words came from Dashu. Dashu means the robber or the dacoits. So the people, those who are invading, they are giving name to the people, those who are here, because they are depriving them to get their basic needs, and they give their name as Dashas or Dashus. Now they spoke a different other languages, and this Dasha actually then started like with a meaning as slave. These Aryans then they started making these people as that they started make them work for them, and they started calling them as Dashas or slave. Now slaves in women we can see that they call them as Dashis. Now how they got their slaves? Slaves are the people, mostly the native people of that place where they started developing their culture, their cities, their vish, their janas. The native common people, those who after a fight, maybe after a war, they got them as prisoner. Now this prisoner mostly they used as their slaves. Now we can see that while Rigveda being composed in northwest of the subcontinent, we have seen development in other areas also. Now we will see that how different words they started describing people. They now in a state where they are giving particular word for a particular theme, keeping there in their mind. There are several ways, the terms they work, they do, how people are describing themselves. They started giving the description by the way they are working, by the place they are staying, sometimes by the name of their family, if it is a famous family, the family name, and that is the way even today we are getting our surnames, though there is some difference. This is the time when the group was described by the term of their work, like the priest. If a priest who is performing pujas or teaching their gurus, they are teaching their students, they were called as, they are described as Brahmins. And this is Rigveda, during the time of Rigveda, caste, this is you can say the beginning of the caste system. But during the time of Rigveda, caste was not as per birth, it was as per the work. Maybe in one family, we have seen that there are 4 types of people, like maybe the father is performing the pujas, so he is called as priest, he is a Brahmin, and then the one member of the family, maybe his son is fighting for the country, so he is protecting the country or protecting the territory, so he is performing as Kshatriya. Then someone who is doing some trade, some business, or maybe doing some agricultural work, so he is Vaishya. And maybe the mother or the daughter-in-law or the daughter, those who are doing for the family household chores, so rather serving other people, working for the other people, they are the Shudras. So it was just as per their work, how they are working, depending on that people divide their caste. Though afterwards it was changed. Afterwards we have seen that it was completely based on their birth. During the time of Rigveda, we have seen that all the Rajas, like those who are the leaders of the tribe, it was not fixed by birth, rather it was by a mutual consent of all the elders in the tribe. But it changed as the days goes on, and during the time of other Vedas, not the Rigveda but mostly Yajurveda and Atharva Veda, we have seen that yes, there is a major change where the caste system was completely controlled by birth, like if you are a son of a Brahmin, you will be a Brahmin, like that it was changed. And some few work was strictly confined for particular caste, like those who are doing some manual jobs. These group of people, they were never allowed to learn or to upgrade themselves to other social structure. Like a Shudra's son will always be a Shudra. They were never allowed to come out of their structure and be a part of the Brahmin types of works. They were no more controlled by their birth, but they were no more controlled by their work, rather by birth, by the end of the Vedic period. We can see that many sometimes we can see that some of these leaders, they some of them, they are given a particular place in the among the people, like those who are performing pujas. I told you, as the Brahmins, they are given the hierarchy in the social structure, rather those who are, and that the way it came down. And rather the people, those who are serving them, the common people, they are giving the lowest structure in the social system, and they were named as Sudras. And mostly the entire society was based on them, the common people. But Vaishyas, they were controlling the monetary part, Kshatriyas was controlling the territory, and Brahmanas was controlling the intellectual part, you can say, of the society. So the common people, those who are doing common household income or the agriculture or serving other people by doing some other jobs, they are giving a very low position in the society, though they are the majority in the society. Sometimes we can see that people who compose the hymns describe them as Aryas. We have seen that, and they turned now, they started turning now one class of people as Dash or Dashis. They don't have any right, those who are captured in as a prisoner in any of the war, in that case they don't have any right in the society. Rather they by birth, rather they are dedicated to just serve people, they are masters, those who have captured them. Here we can see that not only the books, but some places we have seen that we have found evidences that also help us to build our history, that is the burials. That means we have seen that huge megaliths, megalithic stone. You remember that megalith means huge stone, huge stonic structure that they kept in some of the places to mark those places as a burial ground. Now here also, when we see that how they made all this burial ground, we have seen several things that is given us the glimpse of that particular that time of society, their society and their people. We have seen that the stone, they have made huge stone boulders of megaliths, and literally they are huge big stones, and they are carefully arranged by the people to mark a particular place as their burial ground. This practice of erecting megalith, even it started almost 3000 years ago. Even now, though it is not megalith, but some of the customs, even now they are making some memory, to keep the memory of the deceased person, they keep a lith or a stone on the burial places. Even now we can see this culture. Sometimes they even we have seen a particular place was nicely they use stone boulders to cover them. Maybe that also can be a reason that they must not disturb the place for any reason. There is a reason they covered that place, that some other people, they know that this is a place where they are keeping their dead bodies, so they are not disturbing that particular part of the earth. Even we have seen that some of the major families, they kept their burial ground nearby their house. So this also is following a tradition to keep their beloved ones with them. This is giving us another clue also of their nature. This is the time people started believing life after death. They started believing that even though they are beloved, they left them forever, but they are protecting them. They are with them to protect them with some supernatural power. So they started keeping some few things, the things they use for their daily use. They started keeping all those things in their with their dead body after when they are burying them. These have a common feature that they are buried in some distinctive pots which are called black and red ware, and we also found many tools and weapons along with this. Sometimes the iron, the skeleton of horses, that means maybe it was a favorite horse of the person and they buried that horse also along with that dead body. And maybe it was their imagination that these people, they may use it even the life after death, where they are going, they may need this and they can use it. Even we have found that they kept the dead body dressed beautifully with golds and other ornaments also. That also we have found that. Now, what we was discussing, that from the literature, from the books, we have find that there was this is the time when the social differences in social structure we started finding in not in Rigveda but other Vedas, other 3 Vedas. We found that there is a social differences between people that started developing, which we unfortunately even today we are carrying it as a stigma, but it started developing at that point of time. We have seen the people, those who have enough with them, they even for their to bury their dead body also, people are actually they are making some effect to make it separate, to make it make some difference between this burying thing also. We have seen that people, those who are rich with wealth, they are wealthy people, we found dead body with many copper jewelries, golden, 4 copper bangles. One we have found that there are stone beads. They use the beautiful stone beads to decorate the dead body, and they put it inside skeletons. They have they put it in a way that can say us, yes, this person was a rich person. By seeing the type of they buried the dead body, we can even say that maybe he was a king or he was someone who was dominating the society. Whereas we have found many skeletons, they were just put inside a pot and buried. That is that the way they were buried, we can say that maybe they were the common people. There is a reason they followed this. So this type of thing actually suggests the differences between people that started occurring at that point of time. That started, some were rich, some were poor, and the discrimination between rich and poor was distinctively marked, that they are different. We have seen that some of the particular royal families or some of the maybe rich, very wealthy families, they even kept their own particular burial ground, where the family members of that only the it was just kept for the particular family members. Even today, this tradition, though it is not legal anymore, but this tradition, some of the families, they are following this ritual as their family tradition. And some circles are they are distinct based on the modern seeing the skeleton, what the skeletons we can see that how can we define that before 3000 years ago, what type of skeleton, whatever we found that the skeleton, doing the skeleton studies only, we can find that what exactly type of people they were. Now, other than that, we really don't have any evidence in our hand to find out how was their life. So, seeing their bone structure, we can now define that maybe these particular tribe, they were doing a particular type of job. Like even the bone structure of male and female is different. So, by observing that also we can say that whether it is a male skeleton or a female skeleton. Now we about this was the time, even we can say about it was almost 2000 years ago. We have seen that medical science also started developing in some parts of India, and Charaka, who was a famous Ayurvedic physician, he wrote about he wrote a book that is known as Charaka Samhita, where he distinctively marked that almost 360 bones in human bodies. Though a child, I am not sure you know or not, that a child just after their they are born, we can see that number of bones are many more than the one we accepted now, to 206 bones in their body, in our body. Charaka has given this number counting all the teeth, cartilages, and all those soft portion also. If you count all of them, you will find that Charaka has given the right number. So we can say that even this was possible by doing a particular skeleton study only. The way these people also, they started working on the development of the medical science. Charaka arrived this figure by counting teeth, joints, and cartilages also. So if we count all of them, then the number will be exactly the one Charaka has given, that is 360 bones, if we count all of them. Now occupations, these all evidences actually we got from a place that is a river Ghor, that is a tributary of Vima river, Inamgaon. In this place, these all evidences we have find. This was we have see a 5-roomed house here. The largest house, maybe this house was used by the wealthiest person at that point of time, maybe the king or the ruler. And we have seen that the large like four-legged, cross-legged, four-legged one pot, in that the dead body of some people that was buried, and some of the dead bodies we find that the skeletons, they positioned as cross-leg position. So they have so many rituals, they had something in their mind, and by seeing the type of the way they are thinking, the way they are burying the dead bodies, we can easily come to a conclusion that how the people they are living their life. Think about a family who has his own burial ground, and they are following a particular ritual because they are able to follow it, because they are that much wealthy to continue that type of culture. So that also help us a lot. Now even seeing this burial grounds, we can find that what type of occupation they have. They have many cattle with them, because we have seen that they are burying dead bodies with animals. So they have that capacity to offer an animal to a dead body. So they are offering them in that way. So they are we have seen the cattle like the sheep, dog, horse, like this type of ash, and pig, sambar, this type of animals we have seen, as different types of birds, crocodile, that also we have seen in these grounds. And these are the evidence that they have tamed all these animals, or some way they were connected to these animals. Some fruits like ber, amla, jamun, dates, these also, the evidence of these fruits also available from these particular sites, mostly the site as Inamgaon. Now after studying this part, what we have learned? We have learned that they have developed with this is a time when they started developing their language, their literature. So firstly they started reciting and then memorizing the slokas. How they made all these slokas, how they started performing that, mostly to say their prayer to the god, and whatever the god figure we have seen here, Agni, Indra, Soma, they are very much connected to their life. There is nothing mystery in that. And 4 Vedas mostly that we find that Rig, Sama, Yajur and Atharva. Rigvedic time period was completely different. This is the time, these all Vedas was about people, and these from the time of Rigveda we have seen the birth of caste system. Though the caste system at this point of time was not controlled by birth, it was controlled by their work, whatever the profession, occupation they are adopting, based on that their caste system was controlled. But afterwards, the latter part, like from the time of Sama, Yajur and Atharva, mostly the last part of Vedic age, we have seen that it was completely controlled by birth, and as it was controlled by birth, many of the superstition problems in the social structure that also started arising. On the other side, we have seen that the burials also, there are many sentinels that are giving some megaliths. The megalithic stones they put in some of the places, maybe to protect them or to let others know that this is the site where the burial ground, where the people they are burying their dead bodies. And these burial sites also, they are telling us that there is some social differences, as the people, those who are rich, those who were wealthy, their type of burying their dead body was different. Even they used many of the utensils, their jewelries, even their kettles with them, they buried with them, thinking that they have a life afterwards and that they need to continue with that. So they were that much wealthy. Whether other side we have seen that maybe in a common copper, common earthen pot only, the common people buried them. So there was a distinct difference in the social structure also. Now, if we see that this is not the only place, this was not happened only in Indian subcontinent. If we look at it, the type of burial thing, we have even seen this type of culture in Egypt, pyramids. You have, if you connect them, you will find some similarities, where the pharaohs, they were buried along with it in a huge pyramid, even along with their living wives and slaves. At the same time, in the other some places also, we in China we have seen that they started writing, they developed their writing method in bones. They say it oracle bones. Now this oracle bones is something like they can give you the prediction for future. There's something mysterious, something like that they made. The oracle bone they put out inside the fire. Now they crack because of the heat when you are putting that bone in the fire, with a particular question, like who will win the battle, or how we will be harvest, how will be the harvest in this year, like that. And now they put it inside the fire. Now when the bone cracked due to the heat, studying that cracking pattern, people used to predict. Some people, they were there, they used to predict seeing that oracle bone. And now you can easily say that it cannot be 100% truth every time. It is just a prediction. Sometimes maybe by chance some few that got correct answer. It is by some chance, and they though they claim themselves as expert, they made many mistakes. It is not a mistake. It's just their mindset, the way they are trained. They said depending on that. It is a type of astrology, you can say, that developed at that point of time in China. So, with all these things, we can say that this is the time period when people started spreading their wings, other than just only hunting and searching for food. Last few chapters we continuously discuss that how people completely devoted their time, their complete energy just to find food, just to settle down in some place. Their main concentration at that point of time was before Vedic period in India. We found that their main concentration was just to search for food, get some food, and get a shelter where they can live safely, and find some clothes, and that's it. From this time we have seen that with literature, with language, how they started, they now concentrating on how to develop it. There's a reason Brahmins, they got the higher position in the society. Those who learned them, those who started utilizing them, they got that respect in the society. They got that, the king, those who are protecting their the territory, they got different respect in the society, rather than common work like agriculture, those who are working for getting food. So some people, those who are working something different that common people cannot do, that got some extra mileage, some got extra respect in the social structure. This also, by from this period of time, we have seen that education that started dominating the society along with the literature, by holding hand with the literature and developing their language. Thank you.